Hello, I'm Davina. Davina teaches biology. Today I'm going to be making flashcards in real time for the topic of nitrogen cycle in GCSE Biology. Students often think this topic's a little bit hard. There's quite a lot of new words that you have to learn, but if we break it down and do it together, it shouldn't be so bad. So firstly, why do we even need the nitrogen cycle? Nitrogen gas is unreactive and inert. So plants and animals cannot use all the nitrogen gas that is already around us. If you remember from chemistry, you probably would have learned that the atmosphere is 78% nitrogen, but the gas form of nitrogen cannot be absorbed by plants or animals. So there are bacteria that are able to help change that nitrogen gas into compounds that can then be absorbed by plants, and animals can eat the plants. So our first flashcard is nitrogen uses. Why do organisms even need nitrogen? Who cares about this molecule? So first flashcard, nitrogen uses. And on the back, I'm going to write that nitrogen is used to make DNA and RNA. Nitrogen is used to make amino acids, and those amino acids will then be used to make proteins. Some really important proteins that you would have heard of are enzymes and hormones. So without nitrogen, plants and animals cannot make these really important molecules. Next card. The bacteria that are involved in the nitrogen cycle all have different roles. The first bacteria we're going to talk about is called nitrogen fixing bacteria. These bacteria change nitrogen gas into a compound of nitrogen, commonly called ammonium ion. Nitrogen gas to ammonium ion. This process is called nitrogen fixation. And a specific example of a nitrogen fixing bacteria is rhizobium. So my flashcard is short with only 3 bullet points on it, but those will be important marking points for your exam. The next bacteria is called nitrifying bacteria. These bacteria are going to change the ammonium ions that we've just made, NH4+, into nitrite and then nitrate ions. So each time we're adding oxygen, because if you can see from my symbols, we're adding oxygen and removing hydrogen. So from chemistry, you might recall that this is an example of oxidation. So these nitrifying bacteria are involved in oxidation reactions to convert ammonium ions to nitrite and then nitrate. Nitrate ions are important because they can then be absorbed by plant roots. Can you remember, how do plants absorb nitrates or any other mineral ion? My next card is role of nitrates. Plants absorb the nitrates by active transport using the root hair cells. These nitrates, once they're absorbed, can be used to make amino acids and proteins and DNA and RNA. So nitrates are so important. They are a source of nitrogen, which will then be used to make the molecules I started off with, amino acids, DNA, RNA. Amino acids will be used to make proteins so that the plant can grow. The other type of bacteria, denitrifying bacteria. These bacteria are going to take the nitrates from the soil and change them back into atmospheric nitrogen. So in terms of a plant's life, these bacteria are not very helpful, these denitrifying bacteria, because the process they carry out, denitrification, is removing nitrate from the soil. So the plant would have less nitrates. But this is part of the cycle. Therefore, we must return some nitrates to nitrogen gas eventually. Also involved in the nitrogen cycle, we have decomposers. Decomposers are organisms such as bacteria and fungi, and any dead matter will be broken down by these decomposers. But this is actually good. If we didn't have decomposers, every dead animal or plant would still be lying on the road. So we need the decomposers so that the protein that's in the dead matter can be broken down. And then mineral ions are released. Ammonium ions will be released into the soil, which can then go through the nitrogen cycle. During nitrification, be converted to nitrite and nitrate. Decomposers, bacteria and fungi that break down dead matter and release ammonium ions. So nitrogen cycle is not so bad if you remember the role of the specific bacteria. Application questions will be, of course, coming up in the exam paper, but if you know the content thoroughly, you'll be able to apply your knowledge a whole lot more. Please like my video and subscribe. Let me know if there are any topics you're finding difficult that you would like me to make flashcards for, or one of my other types of videos where I show you the notes.